Nice. Take your marks. Sit tall. Hello. Hi, I'm Ian.
I'm Lauren.
Welcome to Bars and Bells in the Morning Routine. This morning feels an awful like our very first routine about 7 or 8 months ago now, and I called it a rainy Tofino day.
Mm-hmm.
It's raining here, and this will be our last live experience on a Sunday. However, today's format will follow next week's episodes. So we'll start with our breath, nice and slow things. Then after about 15 minutes, you could either follow Lauren to kettlebell skills or me to play with our bars and our body weight. Today, we'll explore a little bit of both, but next week, we look forward to sharing a new program format with you, a 15-minute warm-up, and then you decide.
Choose your own ending.
Choose your own ending or starting to the day.
I always like those books.
I do too.
You don't really read.
Shh, they're not supposed to know that. Nothing's secret or sacred, except our breath. That might be a secret here. I'm gonna let you in on a nice, fun secret. I've been playing with our breath also for the last 7 months. We're cueing those nasal breaths, the breath in the nose and also out through lightly closed lips.
So the nose.
Repeat again. Take a belly breath. Both my hands are called on my abdomen or belly. I'm going to take one hand and place it near my chest. Take a breath into the belly. Hopefully you could feel the filling out. Exhale. Now breathe into the chest. Can you feel this lateral growth? Think about growing out on that breath into the chest and then exhale. Take a belly breath here. Hold. And take a chest breath up here. Calm, exhale. A couple more rounds of that. 4-second belly breath. 1, 2. Hold. And then breathe 4 seconds or so into this chest up top. Growing out and exhaling. 2 more. Breath in. Belly first. Hold. Then chest. Exhale. And one last time, belly breath for 4. Hold. And chest breath for 4. Exhale. Shake out shoulders. Check in with those toes. So top of the morning to you, from the tip of the toes. Whether you're sitting over like me a little bit here so you can take a look at the toes. Hi, I'm not look at you. But I'm gonna look at my toes for a second. And could you lift up only that big toe? And then if you could you bend down and place your fingers underneath of it? Push your big toe into that for a second. Resist with the hand, push the big toe down, and then just relax. Do the same thing on the other side. If you're bent over, maybe sit up tall to reset. Then can you lift it up without having to look at it? Then maybe give it a peek and say, are you up? And then if we could, can we bend over just a little bit? Pick it up a little bit extra. And then we're going to ask that you press that big toe. So think of the toenail part of your big toe to press into those fingers underneath. And then relax and place down. Then can we keep those big toes heavy? And we're going to try to lift those outer toes. Big toes heavy, outer toes lift. I can see that they did there, but I might take over and see. And then, like Mozart here, can you play the pinky finger down first? Then that ring finger toe, followed by the middle.
Oh yeah, I'm doing that.
Followed by that index. And then just a little wiggle out
Not
there.
to brag.
Not to brag. 1 or 2 more things from seated here, saying hello to those ankles. I like to do these rainbows. We've been doing these from standing, and they're pretty darn tough. People's knees will bend. So here, we're allowing the knee to bend and prioritizing the action at the feet. From here, could you roll out onto these lateral borders of the feet, but maintaining the big toes heavy? From there, could you lift the heel and then that lateral arch away from the floor, keeping all toes down, and then that adduction or bring these middle ankle bones slowly as tight together as you can. Then from there, press down. Now from here, think about traveling a straight line up, that instep from the heel to the big toe. So we're pushing straight through center, and then out to the side. Make sure that big toe stays down, and then try to connect that lateral border.
Are you letting your knees go?
The knees will drive out because of the feet a little bit for sure. So on the way down, it's from that pinky towards heel, and then pull them again underneath. Let's do that one more time each way. So keep the heels heavy, the big toe heavy. We roll out on that lateral border, drawing a rainbow to connect in the center, or maybe it's a letter M here, and you press down through center then. And final time, peel up through center, roll out, and then get those ankles down outside and bring them back in. And then get a little bit of a wiggle there. We're going to use this apparatus we're sitting on now to say hello to those hips, standing hip flexion exercise, and then our rotation in the hip. So come on up with us here. Grab your apparatus as you wish. Place it accordingly. So standing tall, slight adjustment. Standing tall, could you pull the leg up? You can't see on mine as much, but pull that leg up the leg. Beautiful. Lawrence, you're kind of in that flamingo pose or the letter P. Then as allowed, place the leg on your chair or ottoman. The hips level. This is an example of that hip hike and a couple other things going on, but from there, can we level out the hip? Then same thing, little hip hike and level. And one more, gentle hip hike, pull level. Now we're gonna do this under scoop, we might call it a posterior scoop, followed by an anterior scoop or tipping the hips forward. Tuck under for that posterior tilt. And now, when you go to tip your hips in the anterior direction or the bum back, pull this femur bone off of the knee. I want you to pull back and feel where Lauren has her hand there, that lateral butt cheek hamstring as a stretch. Then from there, tuck under, and then pull off of that knee in the front that you can tip your hips back. I hope you feel this stretch as a load. Let's do that one more time. Tuck under, and then tip away, pulling a femur off the knee. Then stay tall. Slowly bend the knee as allowed. Can we extend the hip till our quads are parallel? And then slowly extend the knee underneath. Switch your side. There'll be a little weight shift. Then same thing. We'll bend the knee first. Hopefully it's at the height that we can clear our box or chair. And then again, place the foot on top. From here, we'll hike the hip, which more likely takes you into light rotation as well, but a hip hike here, and then down. And just a couple again, hip hike up, and making sure our shoulders don't come with us here, and pull low. It's that awareness building process here where we want everything. We want a shoulder up eventually. We want our hip up eventually. But a lot of the time, we want to work and stretch from level or center. We did ups and downs this way. Now we're going to do our scoops in that front back direction. Tuck under the hip, standing tall. Personally, that's that big stretch on the standing leg. Then when I tip my tailbone to the back, I'm trying to pull off my knee. So Lauren's knee, as you can see, is nice and vertical, and we're pulling off. From there, we'll come back to that tuck under or posterior tilt, and then pull off and feel that load on that lateral hamstring bone. Let's repeat that one more time as we slowly tuck under. Press down through that elevated leg here and try to pull off that hamstring to lengthen out. Now stay tall. Add that gentle knee bend here. Clear that apparatus, and then straighten out the knee. A little bit of a walk. A little bit of a little shake out there. We're gonna come back to those hips in that same position, that nice level position, and then at the hip, start doing some rotations. The rotations that I just demonstrated with my other hip or my shoulder here. We'll replicate that after. But first, let's go to those hips. It's a little more familiar for most of us here anyways. Quads are parallel across the front. Bend the knee. Pull it up into that hip flexion position, and then extend out front here. You might have to adjust your stance for sure. From here, gently extend the standing leg forward. Push from the butt cheek, not the chest with a lean, but really focus on extending the hip forward. From here, can be dorsiflex in the foot, so that's that karate foot or ankle pulling to shin. And then slow and controlled like external rotation in the hip, inseam up or forward. Then turn in on the hip. This hip wants to probably open up. So we're going to keep this standing leg hip forward as we internally rotate here. Slowly go into that external rotation out to the side. Make sure that we're tall on this leg. It'll feel different if you extend that hip a little bit. And then nice and slow on that turn in. Avoiding the sickled ankle. So as the hip's turning in, the foot's almost winging out. Let's do that one more time each. External rotation. Push this standing hip even taller if you can. And then nice and slow internal rotation. Hold for a 1/1000 or longer. Then light bend of the knee. Pull it across your chair. Extend the hip. Watch out for rads in the back. And straighten the leg. Real nice. Nice.
Ooh, it's toasty.
It's all warm. Okay, so the same thing on the other side. I'm going to come forward here just a little bit again, so Lauren might be able to move away from the rad. So same thing here. We're going to bend. Which leg was I just on? I was standing on my right, so here I go. I'm going to bend that left knee now, flexing the hip forward and extending on the box. That's just what I did. I got to switch. Here we go. Okay. So we're tall. As you can see here, that pole is behind Lauren here, and her body is in line with it. Avoid this hinge forward, and the standing leg, the one behind here, she's gently pushing forward more and more and more. Okay, here we go. So from here, we have those level hips we've talked about, and then that external rotation in the hip is turning to have that inseam forward or turned up. From there, we'll turn it back in, keeping the other hip pushing forward. Slowly externally rotate or turn that inseam up, and then turn it in, keeping that standing hip pushing forward. Repeat 2 more, slow and steady, dorsiflexing at that ankle. And here we're driving that action through the hip as we close. Nice and slow.
Close what?
Internally rotate or close. And go one more time, external rotation. Maybe stand up even taller on that standing leg there, and then rotate in. Slow bend on the knee. Dismount with control. Extend, and then straighten out. Check it out. We're gonna do one thing for our rib cage here, and then next for our shoulders, and then we'll put that all together in a little check-in to finish.
What have you got? Bibbidi bobbidi boo.
You can do it from your seated position or from your standing. Up close might show a little bit more of what we're trying to get at again. So I'll be on my tall kneel. With hips extended if you're here, and if you're standing, it's much the same. Take a hand out to the side, about 45 degrees maybe, and then bend on the elbow. From here, take the other hand across your chest. Elevate the shoulder, pull down the shoulder, elevate the shoulder, pull down the shoulder. Then push the shoulder forward, driving from underneath the armpit actually, and then retract the shoulder back. And then drive from underneath and retract the shoulder back. Drive underneath, retract back, slowly straighten that elbow down to your hip, and just relax that for a second. Same thing on the other side. With the palm facing forward, 45 degrees away from the body, bend on an elbow, hi-ya. Take your other hand, put it on that pec or shoulder insertion up here, and then again, elevate the shoulder as to shrug, and then pull down. Lauren had her hand where that action was going again. If she can wrap her hand around her body there, I have my hand on the front to feel what's going on, but that place underneath that armpit is right where we want to try to drive that action from. Now, from here, can we drive forward, scooping again underneath, and then retracting back, shoulder blades tight. Drive forward from underneath the armpit, and then retract back, drop underneath, and then retract back. Slowly extend the elbow, and then relax that. The actions in the shoulders, up, down, front, and back, very similar to those hips. In a moment, we're gonna try to just rotate in those shoulder sockets to keep things loosey and goosey. Until then, can you just take us through that nice slow movement clock for fun?
You know it.
All right.
Give yourself a little bit of clearance around your body, like this much. Standing tall first, let's just root ourselves into the floor. Gripping with the toes we warmed up, pushing our heels and balls of feet down, lifting up our quads by straightening our knees, squeezing our glutes, bracing our core, and just standing tall for 3, 2, and then relax a little bit, but not too much. And peel the heel of one foot off the floor, and then the ball of the foot and the toe. It's gonna point, toe ball, heel landing in front. Hips are square forward, shoulders are square forward. Back heel is down, leg is nice and straight. From here, let's push off that front foot forward to send ourselves back to center. Let's do the same thing off the second leg. Peel the heel off the floor, the ball, toe ball, heel landing out front. Square, square, push forward to come back. Great. We're gonna restart front, working ourselves to the back, and then to the second leg. First leg again. Peel the heel off the floor, then the toe ball, or ball toe ball, heel landing, square forward, push forward to come back. This time we're stepping out at a 45. Peel the foot off the floor, toe ball, heel. That foot might turn out a little bit, but the knees in line, hips are square. Push forward to come back to center. Lateral. Peel the foot off the floor, toe ball, heel landing, still square forward, push side to come back. Opening, peeling the foot off the floor, rotate towards the back corner, reach toe ball landing, and then push off the floor to come back to center. This next one's different. Peel the foot off the floor, reach back, toe not very far, ball, heel, both hips pushing to back behind you, quads end up parallel, upper body upright, nice and tall, and then drive through the hips to extend, pushing off the floor, pulling underneath. Same thing, second side. To the front first, peel, toe ball, heel, back heel down. I always find that hard on the first one. Push forward to come back. Out to the 45, peeling off the floor, soft landing, push back to center. Peel, lateral, square, push side to come back. This time taking the foot off the floor, rotating, then lengthening out to that new corner and back to center. And then our last one behind us, peeling the foot off the floor, reaching toe ball, heel landing, hips go back, quads end up parallel, hips end up level, push through the floor to pull back onto center.
Yeah. Those hips, the stability of the hip here and the core, and then that mobility of those hips. Let's go back to those shoulders. Similar position. Take a hand, place it on that pec insertion across the body, other arm out to about 45 degrees, and bend on the elbow. For one repetition here, elevate the shoulder, pull the shoulder down, and then think scooping under, and your elbow might come forward a couple degrees. From here, let's slowly turn the humerus, so that long bone in the shoulder right here, internally, meaning the hand goes towards the floor. And the hand on the chest shouldn't feel too much. If it starts to feel tension or visually see a kick up of the shoulder, we've gone too far. So let's reset to a position that we feel safe in here, and then slowly, feeling very little with the hand across the chest, we'll externally rotate the shoulder then as to show the palm towards forward. Let's repeat that 1 or 2 more times here. So with straight fingers through the wrist, minimal movement on the shoulder with the other hand, internally rotate that shoulder, turning the palm towards the floor. It does not have to go too far. Hold for a second, and then again externally rotate. One more time, make sure that shoulder blade or scapula is hugging in tight, and nice and slow, internally rotate that shoulder, feeling very little again on that pec or front side of the body. Finish an external rotation, pull an elbow to your side, and straighten out the elbow. Shake it out. One more time on the other side, same thing. It's a very subtle movement, but again, will help with pushing, pressing, anything that you do with your upper body in exercise or for your occupation or lifestyle. So arm out to the side like we had earlier, then bend on the elbow, straight fingertips through the palm. Other hand across the body. Elevate the shoulder once, but then pull it back down. Now push that elbow forward a little bit by driving underneath the armpit. From here, take time and slowly internally rotate on that shoulder. As you can see, I'm just about breaking parallel. It doesn't have to be a big range to be either intense or a great exercise for you. Slowly externally rotate or bring the palm forward. Reset that this armpit shoulder musculature down here is supporting. Our scapula is our stability joint. It doesn't move. As we slowly internally rotate on that shoulder again, turning the palm towards the back wall. My second one, I can get a little bit further. Take your time, externally rotate, perhaps square those shoulders, Lauren, or maybe you're just kind of not square to the camera, and that's all good too. But making sure that we're not twisting or rotating to keep the shoulder safe in all of our lifts. Internally rotated, kind of scarecrow shape there. And one final time, external rotation, bring the elbow in tight, and then slowly extend the elbow. Shake it out. We have one final check-in, and then we'll kind of share with you what Lauren might get up to next week with some light body weight but kettlebell skills. For this next phase here, we will do a little Jane Fondue here. Get a sip of water.
Oh, yeah.
So knees over toes. Knees over toes. Where can you slide a single leg forward and then push off the back leg to be on 2 feet? As you can see here, yeah, Lauren's a little close, that's great. So we're gonna have a vertical shin in the front with a slightly bent knee. At the hips, tuck under and straighten that back leg. If we look at the feet, are you on parallel cross country or train tracks? Then if we look at the hips, are they facing forward? Then if we look at the shoulders, are they also facing forward? And lastly, our head, neck. Hands where you wish, cross body, hips, sides, whatever feels good for you. And now, grow tall, lengthen out energy out of the crown of your head, and slowly add a rotation. Rotation to the left. Grow tall yet again, returning center, and rotate to the right and center. Now keep the head forward, keep the hips forward, and rotate the shoulders. First though, let's take those shoulders in retraction as to pull them together. Keep your head and hips facing forward, and think about turning your rib cage. If you've gone a certain distance, pull your shoulder blades together. It might shorten that range. Rotate back to center. Same thing with the face forward, rotate through the rib cage. Keep that back leg hip pushing forward. Hips, rib cages, nice and level. Pull back to center. Now head forward, shoulders forward. Lastly on those hips. Can we head forward? Like face forward.
Oh.
Facing forward. Headlights. Eyes, headlights,
Gotcha.
shoulders facing forward. Now the hips, we want to try to open up that hip. This shoulder wants to come with us. So make sure that shoulder stays front. The hip can open. And then bring that hip around. Nice. You can see that nicely on Lauren there. I think it might be too dark. But it's like doing the twist, but it's slow. So we're going to open up that back hip with our front shoulder staying forward and then close the bottom hip. Repeat one more time. Open. Do your hips hike? How does that feel in the low back? You want to create room for the low back. If you're feeling that pinching in the low back, we need to talk about it. Send us that text.
I also noticed my knee fell in. Don't
Okay.
let that happen.
Great. Feel what is going on in the body to either allow or prevent you from adding that nice rotation. Let's push off that back leg, bring the knees together, and then create room under the foot. Yeah. Okay. Last one on the other side. So same idea here. Front, extend a leg, push off. Adjust for camera angles. And again, looking at those feet, are they facing forward? Good. Then at the hips, are those flashlights facing forward? And then the shoulders, are they facing forward? And lastly, the head neck. Grow tall yet again at the head neck, and slowly add that rotation to the left in my case here. I'm growing tall, returning center, and rotating to the other side. And center. Then keep the hips forward and head facing forward as well. Retract those shoulders and add a rotation. Take time, add tension. The tension between you and the floor on the bottom will help isolate that movement to ribs. Super slow again with the head facing forward. Rotation towards across the body. I can feel myself dipping there, so trying to keep the shoulders nice and level. Return to center. Let's try that one more time. Face forward. Rotation through the rib cage. Are the shoulders indeed in retraction? To center. And then last one, prevent the teapot here. So avoid that bend and try to lengthen out. Beautiful rotation there. Come back center. Face forward, shoulders forward. Lastly, those hips. So the back shoulder will want to rotate with the body. So we're gonna have our head forward, our shoulder forward, and then close that hip. Can we keep shoulders and heads forward as we try to open the hip? I think I'm doing the same thing Lauren called out on her inner knee there, that valgus thing, which isn't rad, but just try to not have it so obvious. Do the work in the hips versus having to do the work somewhere else. Close up. Push off that back leg. Bring underneath. Shake it out. That will be a little bit of an extended version of our practice next week. Next week, expect 15 minutes, a pre-recorded session of that stuff that makes us think about the tips of our toes, our core and our breath, and is able to explore some of that movement. After that, we'll be here and saying, hey,
choose your own ending.
Touch this for me. Body weight bar. And then Lauren's gonna be like, hey, come swing and sweat with me. So what do you want to do? Maybe it's just nice the way it is, or you could join us the next time for something a little bit more extended. Lauren's gonna share 3 skills with us right here. She's gonna have us do a Turkish get-up down, a hardstyle plank, and some hinge. We might do that one more time with the get up, and then we're on our way to live action in the studio here.
Live
and
action
coffee.
In studio.
And coffee. Okay.
All right.
Here we go.
Let's start with our get up down first. Take an arm, crossed across the body. One day this will be overhead and loaded with a kettlebell. Until then, keep it here. Take your leg, step it back, drop back lunge. Front foot opens. Chop your hip, rotate and hinge that hip back. Then from there, transfer your weight onto your hands, stacking your shoulders. Back leg sweeps through to your elbow and then control down to your back. We're going to take an intermission from our get up and do a plank. Roll over onto your stomach. Place your hands, there's just a chair in the way. Place your hands out in front of you in fists. Elbows underneath shoulders, shoulders scoop down. Then pay attention to your core here. I want you to tuck under, connecting your ribs and hips like you're about to take that punch. Then either from this modified position where our hips lift to be in line with our shoulders and head, or from our full extended position, hold your plank, squeeze your butt, pull the floor together underneath you like you're rippling it for 5, 4, 3, 2, knees come down. Safe landing, keeping those shoulders pulled down. And then roll back to your back. We'll stand up via the get up to do some deadlifts from there. On your back, take that same arm across your chest. Let's do the other side. Sorry. Take the other arm across your chest. That same leg is bent, foot flat on the floor near your bum. Other leg extended out straight, other arm heavy on the floor. Use your foot to drive into the floor, extending your hip, pulling on elbow. Find your hand. From there, necklace jingles. From here, lift and sweep your front leg underneath. Hand leaves the floor. Front foot moves in front to square you up to a lunge. Both legs help you up. Shake it out.
The get up.
That was the get up, mixed with a plank.
Excellent.
Let's do 5 hinges. Hinges lead to our kettlebell swings, but ultimately hinges help us in our daily life. Picking things up off the floor, putting things in our trunks, etc. Think about this the next time you lift something. Take your hands. First let's start at your feet. They're wider, slightly wider than your hips. Take your hands. Chop them across your hips, sending your hips back, bending your knees. Notice that your feet are rooted, your shins are vertical and parallel, perpendicular to the floor. Feel the load and weight through hammies and glutes. Hips are higher than your knees here. Chest is still lifted out in front versus being right parallel with the floor. From here, drive down and out on your knees and extend, driving your hips through to tall. At the top, think about that plank we did on the floor. Abs braced, glutes squeezed, tension everywhere. Then chop your hips, hinge back, load up that hinge deadlift again, pack your shoulders, brace your core, drive down and out to stand up. Plank, plank. 3 more. Chop hips, hinge, push down and out to stand up tall. Stop yourself up tall because your core comes into work here. Well, your core is working the whole time. Keep that brace. Breathe underneath that shield. As you stand up, prepare to, last one, I believe, hip hinge. Load up hammies, glutes. Brace, drive down and out, and relax. That's a little tidbit of what we would do with a kettlebell.
And that might have been a little bit lighter than it would have happened with that kettlebell.
Yes.
Lauren promises to take time, to stay strong, work on those basics. But Lauren's 7 to 10 minute exercise videos are some of our most popular on YouTube and also the most challenging.
Mm-hmm.
So take it with you on. You can come to me the next time for just a little bit more of our holds and our bar practice and some body weight strength. Or you could follow along with Lauren and go to Kettlebell Skills. For today, that's our practice. We hope that you find strength, fun, working on those small joints, the tip of toes, the bellies and breaths, and build that awareness to carry you through the day. We walked here. It's wet. It's rainy, but that doesn't matter. Get outside, enjoy the fresh air.
Get a raincoat.
Get a raincoat and rain boots. I love my new rain boots.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for playing with us today, and we hope that you take care and stay strong. Goodbye.
See you soon.